Hello, in this tutorial I will show you how I built this generative piece. We'll focus on how randomness and noise behave differently, how transformations shape space, and how color can be treated as an experiment using the newer color modes in p5.js 2.x. The first idea I want to introduce is the difference between random and noise. Random and noise both introduce variation, but they work very differently. Random gives you a completely unrelated value every call. Noise actually has structure. Values stay close to their neighbors, so things transition instead of jump. Unlike random, the same input always returns the same value, so you can control where you sample from. A large increment means you're sampling values that are far apart, so the output changes quickly. A small increment means you're sampling values that are close together, so the output changes slowly. If I use random for changing the size of the circle, I can do it between 0 and 100. We will see then this kind of behavior. Let's try then adding a noise function for the size. Let's try to do the same first. So just give 100, and now we're gonna replace it in the size parameter. We have a super small circle, but is there. What happens is that noise gives you values between 0 and 1. So let's see if we multiply it by 200. Here we have a bigger circle, and noise needs a value that changes over time. So let's use frame count, and I'm going to multiply it by a super small number, and here we can see a smooth change in the circle size. Now let's start by creating a few simple shapes using functions like circle and Bezier. I'm going to try with these values. Once the shapes exist, I can start positioning them in the space by using transformations. One of the most important ideas is that transformations don't affect the shape itself, but they change the overall coordinate system. So we're going to apply translate here to move everything, the origin, to the middle of the canvas. And I'm going to apply a different translate for the Bezier, let's say 100 and 100 this time. Translations and rotations, they accumulate. Here we can see that even though the 200 and 200 is only applied to the circle, it's actually applied also to the Bezier because it's moving 100 to the right and 100 below from the new origin point. That's why push and pop exist and are so important. They give each shape its little sandbox. Everything inside is transformed, and then the coordinate system resets. Let's apply a push for the first figure, for the first shape. Here we have, and then this and this here too. We can try to make this a little bit, it's a movement. Here we have like a fan kind of. Now it's rotating slow. With multiple shapes and proper transform isolation in place, I can repeat the shape across the canvas. So what I'm going to do is put this circle shape in a function, and it's going to be called circle2, and I'm going to do a petals function for the petals. Here we go. Okay, calling circle, we're calling petals. We have to write a for loop. Now what happened? Well, They are in the for loop, but we cannot see them. So let's just add a simple translate to them. E, I. And now we can see that we actually have the circles. And here, let's do the same thing. J, J. So we have these 3D circles going on. We could do 300 and make them appear 100 and 100, and now we have it more separate. Maybe we can do 80 to have the separation. We need to add a push and pop here just in case. There you go, and here too. So what happens is that the translation add up even inside a for loop. This is a repetition of actions, right? Now I'm going to experiment with color. We are adding the color mode here in the setup, and this is the way I like to use the HSV, also with some alpha in there. I'm going to change the colors of the circle. Here in this function, I'm going to say to fill the circle with just a random hue, but really low saturation and a lot of brightness. And actually, I want a random from 0 to 100 of brightness. And for the petals, I want these pastel colors. So for that, let's just set up a 10 for the hue and 40 on saturation and 80 on brightness. And here we have like a red pastel thing going on. Also no stroke for this. And now I'm going to animate the hue of the petals, and I am going to do it right here inside with the same way we did it previously, just to have a slow, nice motion and have the whole range that is 360. I really want just a random background color. I also want the brightness of the background to be random between 0 and 60. When I write the background function, I want first R background and RD background. Oh no, that's the brightness, and for saturation just 50. Here we have this other background, and maybe I just put it right here, but yes, I'm having an error on the variables. They are local, so I have to declare them globally so that I can use it in the setup and in the draw. The petals and circles are kind of like mechanical still, so I'm going to play with the noise for X position and Y position. And now the circles are moving a little bit faster. Maybe the random is a little bit smaller. And here we have super nice movement and pattern. I also want to highlight that there are new color spaces. If you open the p5.js 2.x reference and search for color mode, the first thing you will notice is that the list of supported modes is much longer than before. There are several new ones on top of the usual RGB, HSB, and HSL modes, such as LAB, LCH, OKLAB, and OKLCH. The syntax is exactly the same as before. Color mode takes the mode constant and optionally the max values for each channel. Once multiple layers and colors are involved, blend modes become an easy way to add some energy. So let's try one blend mode. For example, here in the petals, I'll add the soft light one. Wow. And for the circle, I will use the blend mode difference. Let's see now. From here, experimentation is the real work. Generative art is not about finding perfect systems or settings. It's about learning how the systems behave and developing intuition through play. Thank you so much for watching. Hope this inspires you and keeps you motivated to continue creating and learning and coding.